I'd like to welcome you all again, every one of you, particularly all our students, and of course our visitors from all over the world. So it's really good to see you. Enjoy your time with us. And remember, at the end of the evening, you'll receive an email with your certificate of attendance, a link to the recording of the webinar, and a feedback form. So, some of the things we're going to talk about this evening in the introduction: current lighting technologies. What does the future hold for lighting and lighting design? Then we'll have an introduction to artificial intelligence and general artificial intelligence aspects. We'll look at artificial intelligence and lighting specifically. And then we'll look at artificial intelligence and lighting design. So those are exciting things. They're really, not everything is mature yet, but lots of it is so exciting. And then we'll look at a host of new lighting technologies and systems. We'll conclude the evening. We'll have a question and answer session, which will run concurrently with the surveys, the BHA survey and your CPD survey for all of you who claim CPD credits. And then we'll have a short closing. So let's be sure of one thing. The old technologies have passed away. As you can see, they've each got their tombstones, they're gone. LED arrived in South Africa around about 2006, 2007. It wasn't very exciting at the time. In fact, I often wondered what on earth they were trying to do with some of the products they introduced. They were so poor. But they've advanced absolutely beyond belief. And it's now a very mature technology. And there are products for every possible application that you could imagine. LED in its many forms has still not been fully mastered or adopted by professionals and lighting designers. And I speak specifically about those professionals and lighting designers in South Africa. They're using it as if it was old technology, and it's completely wrong, because LED is a different species altogether, if we could call it that. Yet, wherever you go, everybody wants to know what's coming next. What's going to replace LED? No, I don't think it's going to replace LED in a hurry. Maybe at some stage in the distant future, but certainly other technologies will use LED technology as part of their product environment. So the current technologies that we know about is LED plus power over Ethernet. How many have used power over Ethernet? I can't even think of any people other than ourselves. What about Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi is so exciting. I know in the early days, it was a very expensive product to try and introduce. What about indoor positioning systems for retailers, big retailers? It's in use overseas. It's in use in galleries, museums, all sorts of places, airports, and so on. We used indoor positioning at Istanbul International Airport recently when we traveled. What about wireless lighting control? There are a host of products, but not many are actually being used. And then there's the Internet of Things based lighting systems. which is very exciting. It's very appropriate in the domestic environment. And all these technologies have existed for the past 8 to 9 years. They've been around for that long. And if people stick to the old way of just putting light fixtures up, because to use these products, you actually have to explain to a client and show the benefits, improved return on investment, energy efficiency, and so on. So let's start our journey into the future of lighting. What does the future hold for lighting? Can it just be more things being added to existing lighting technologies only? Why add more when existing lighting technologies haven't been fully adopted? Is it to keep up with new ideas and technologies, or simply being fashionable? We too. I think it's far more than that. There's a huge knowledge gap. People do not understand the technologies in order to use them efficiently and effectively. So that's where our students are at a distinct advantage, because they learn about all these new technologies and they learn how to develop the systems architecture for the technologies to in fact use them, and they qualify. They graduate from their course with that knowledge, taking it out into the marketplace. So, what new technologies will be added to lighting and lighting design software suites? Let's start taking a look at those. In the first instance, there's artificial intelligence in lighting. Now, this was a little exercise that I did myself in preparation for this evening. I asked Microsoft Copilot, and we used licensed copies, to provide me with 2 super images of lighting for hotel receptions. And this is what Copilot produced for me. I didn't do it. Artificial intelligence did it. And I'm sure you'll agree they are quite outstanding and super, very different. And artificial intelligence, do not make the mistake that it's simply a form of Google. It's not. Artificial intelligence goes across, it searches all our Microsoft software to see if there's anything that's available there. It then goes out and searches elsewhere, and it searches specifically in the technologies. It's absolutely amazing. Then I did another little exercise, and I asked it to produce 2 lovely restaurant photographs with very subtle lighting, creating a nice ambience. And this is what Copilot produced. Now, if we could work to that, imagine. It would be quite a treat. So think about it. You're doing a lighting project, and they ask you to come up with a concept lighting design. You haven't got all the drawings yet in your possession in order to do a proper lighting design, but you want a concept. So you need some good photographs to show off your concept. Just think about how you can use artificial intelligence to do just that. I see a hand up, but if there are any questions, please type your question in the chat box below, and I'll answer them at the end of the evening. Then we look at the other advantages of the new technologies and artificial intelligence specifically. It allows for a streamlined workflow. You're able to organize repetitive tasks to be conducted by artificial intelligence, to be done by artificial intelligence, leaving you free, or your staff free, to do the more important things. Artificial intelligence in that streamlined workflow has the ability to examine large amounts of complex data. So that's an advantage. If this can free you up, imagine you have another employee in the form of artificial intelligence, but you don't have to pay your employee, except the license fees, of course. Then the smart lighting. Artificial intelligence enabled lighting solutions, adaptive, energy efficient. Again, it can analyze the data and create lighting that will be energy efficient, suitable for the ambient light that is available, the daylight that is entering the space. It can calculate all of that and control the lighting efficiently, and resulting in very good energy efficiency. Then you have lighting management systems. And again, the management system is part of the streamlined workflow, but this can be used to examine data, examine your quotations, to see that your quotations meet the requirements, that all the clauses are in the quotation, that you need to put the disclaimers, whatever the case is. Artificial intelligence can do that, and probably better and more efficiently than a human. It can save man hours, lead to your own greater efficiency. Then we have enhanced productivity. Enhanced productivity comes with the use of artificial intelligence that is doing all these repetitive tasks. The tasks that you can program, use the artificial intelligence for it to catch up and do that, those simple tasks. Leaving your lighting designers to really focus on the true work for which they should be qualified. Then you have predictive maintenance, where artificial intelligence can monitor and constantly look at the light fixtures and the lighting system as a whole to see when it needs attention, when it can predict when it's going to need maintenance. So that in fact, it can help you plan proactive maintenance, preventative maintenance. Then we've all spoken for a long, long time about human-centric lighting. And human-centric lighting is another one of those that has not been widely adopted, especially in South Africa. But overseas, it's adopted more in Europe than in the hotter climates. And here again, artificial intelligence can control the lighting so well that it provides you with the right light at the right time of day to give that stimulation to the human circadian rhythms. So the body's functions are working at their optimum, and that you're getting the most productivity out of the people who work for you. And it no doubt does it for the individual as well. All right, let's just get back to that. So what about integrate the lighting design software? Now, I've been talking to Relux in Switzerland, and it's something that they're actively looking at the moment, looking to introduce. And again, it'll give automated design generation. It won't do the total design for you, but those areas where you have this repetitive kind of lighting design needed, it will do that, leaving the lighting designer free to focus on the real special lighting. That lighting for ambience, for special effect, or for special tasks. Very important. It also has the ability to enhance the visualization so that you get a beautiful photo quality image to present to your client, that your client will actually sense it. It'll actually feel like it. He says, oh, my house is coming alive. Now that's something that's already available in Relux Desktop. Optimization and analysis, where it's able to analyze complex data, check for energy efficiency, analyze the energy efficiency, return on investment, and so on. All those things that a lot of people struggle with. Artificial intelligence can do that for you. It can evaluate the impact of various lighting designs for different scenarios and the impact that it will have on the occupants or the impact that it will have on the environment. So where you sit and you rack your brain and you come up with all the sort of like pet answers, this can generate answers with facts and information to back it up. Then the integration, the streamlined workflow, I've already spoken about that, but the integration with Internet of Things is where it can create interconnected systems, interconnected with various other lighting systems to integrate your total lighting for a project. So, as a result of artificial intelligence in lighting and lighting design, we'll have it's transforming the lighting industry. Now, if you're not aware of it and you haven't kept up to date with it and you haven't studied and learned about all these new aspects in lighting and lighting design, you're going to be left behind a little bit. So more efficient, it'll be more adaptive. It can adapt to the environment or to the task, etc., or the architectural design. And it'll be more user-friendly because a lot of the technologies, the control technologies, are not completely user-friendly. But what else for 24-25 in the way of lighting? Well, we've already spoken about artificial intelligence enhanced lighting, so we're not going to talk about that anymore. But what about things like AC chip on board tape light. Improved efficiency, flexibility, and longer lifespan. More reliable. It's a great product. What about RGB TW sources? Now, we know about RGB, but all of a sudden we add those two letters on, TW. So you've got white, the different white colors, providing a wider range of color options for dynamic lighting applications. Now, it's not a simple thing of having actual colors, but imagine mixing your colors. So your colors mix. It's almost like an artist's palette for their paints. So you'll be able to get all sorts of colors. Then what about 48 volt DC architectural lighting systems? Very popular in track and busway systems. So direct current lighting is really a great option. This, in the same way, power over Ethernet is direct current. We're doing it without the driver. There's no need to convert from 12 volt or 12 volt to 30 volt, have that conversion through the electronics. Long-range Bluetooth outdoor lighting controls, giving you an enhanced connectivity and control for outdoor lighting, all types of outdoor lighting. And then there's another amazing thing, touchless light switches. Like you go to a parking garage, and you sort of wave to get your ticket. This is very similar. You just go and you show your hand at it, and the switches work. They're antimicrobial surfaces for improved hygiene. For when the next nonsense comes around. So we've got to take care of ourselves. Then there's some exciting things. Now we're going to talk about some of those. Micro luminaires, micro downlighters with a diameter of 12.7 millimeters. You know how small that is? 12.7 millimeters. And smaller. But these are downlighters that produce light, not the little ones that are like the starlights that you sometimes see populating a whole ceiling. Then there are 3D printed luminaires. 3D printing is absolutely amazing. Today you have ships, super yachts, crossing the ocean. And when they have a breakdown, they can't go out and buy spare parts. And you'll find they have 3D printers on board, and they make the parts using software and a 3D printer that they need to do their maintenance when far from a port. And the same with lighting. So imagine you're doing a special lighting installation, and you need a special type of luminaire. And you give it to somebody who's got a 3D printer, and they can produce just what you need according to your specifications. Then you have acoustic luminaires. Luminaires that incorporate acoustic sound absorbing properties. So that your light fitting now is no longer just there to produce light. It is also helping to dampen the sound, particularly helpful in places like call centers, busy offices, and even at home, where you'd like to have the right sort of environment to listen to your favorite music. Then there's therapeutic lighting. Now, therapeutic lighting is not human-centric lighting. This includes lighting where they actually produce a light mask. It's a mask you put on, and it's got small light embedded in it, LED light, but light of the right wavelengths that will treat skin conditions such as acne, also to help regulate sleep patterns by influencing the production of melatonin in a non-invasive, drug-free manner. And there's a South African invention. Well, it's a doctor who he emigrated a long time ago, but he was originally from South Africa, and he produced a type of helmet. It's been amazingly refined, but people wear it, and it helps people with Alzheimer's and also people with Parkinson's. That people who've had used the helmet for the prescribed periods regularly for some time actually show improvement. Some examples of the products, and I thought you'd be interested in this. There's one manufacturer called Candyway, and they manufacture red light therapy masks. Red light, it's around the face to help people with acne and so on. Much better than using medication. And some of that medication, a lot of people already know about, and it's not very good on the human body. Then there's Dermabeam rather, who use LED light therapy. The right light tuned to the right wavelengths for people. But they also have developed the light therapy that is used for people suffering from dementia and the early onset of Alzheimer's. And these are new companies. They're very new, right? Then you have quantum dot technology, and quantum dot technology has been developed for quite some time. One of the main developers is actually in Canada, but it leads to improved color accuracy and quality achieved by embedding nanoscale semiconductors, conductor particles into LEDs. So it doesn't replace the LED, but they embed nanoparticles of quantum dots into the LEDs. Examples of this are a couple of companies, an Italian company, Symbiosis, where they use silicon nanocrystals instead of the traditional quantum dots. And then there's a UK company called Quantum Science, where they make infrared quantum dots. Now there's some other wonderful things. Dynamic lighting. It's a system that adjusts in real time to the environment, using preferences or for specific tasks at the time for optimal lighting. So it also provides both comfort and functionality where the users are actually able to adapt and adjust the lighting to their own preferences. So it's still possible to comply with standards and regulations, but obviously it will be at the lowest level. So it's particularly well suited and can be tailored to improve focus during educational study sessions. So where you want to change the color or you want to heighten the concentration when certain subjects are being, or content is being explained. And it's also good to create calming hues in homes. You come home after a long day and a busy day, you're tired, and if you have calming light, in fact, mimicking sunset, you can sit and you can relax and before going to bed. So more to add to the range of lighting technologies. Li-Fi. Now I know that you're going to say to me, it's not new. But the basic technology that we've been teaching for some time, and we've been encouraging the people to keep up to date with the developments of a product range under the banner of Pure Li-Fi, which was first developed by Harold Haas of the Edinburgh University, and he presented it for the first time in 2011 on a TED Talk program. So you should all be familiar with TED Talks. But now there are more companies offering Li-Fi systems. The first one is a company from India. So I know we have a few people from India, a couple of my students as well. Li-Fi.com is the name of the company. They offer super fast Li-Fi with download speeds of 100 megabytes per second for up to 16 users simultaneously through their Li-Fi Max USB dongle, through a single dongle. Now, on Pure Li-Fi, you need to have several dongles because you can't have lots of people on one dongle. It's usually on one laptop. Whereas this one can have up to 16 users simultaneously. Then there's Kintsugi01, a French company, and they specialize in Li-Fi and optical camera communication using their Halo system. Now, it's very interesting how it works. It performs indoor mapping. It's very flexible, gives immediate access to precise indoor information. So imagine that you've got cameras because you are protecting your property and all your equipment. So what it does, there's a modem, and that modem talks to an indoor card, which is integrated into the light sources. And that then modulates LED light at very high frequencies, which enables it to transmit a UID, a unique identifier, to your smartphone. So that you can be out anywhere and you can pick up and you will know exactly what's going on. All right? It'll be unique for your smartphone. So it's then able to interpret the signals sent by light sources. So it's wonderful new technology. And again, it's a relatively young company, French company. Right, agricultural lights. And once again, you're going to probably say to me, but what are you on about? We've had grow light technology for a long time. That's been around for quite a long time. Where there are huge sites in Japan where they pick 10,000 lettuce heads per day. I agree with what you're saying, but now it's moved on. Technology does not stand still. It's constantly evolving and moving on. To the extent that this lighting now, for indoor farming or vertical farming, as it's also known, can be tunable, but for different plant types to provide optimum growth quickly. and it's programmable. So once you've got a different plant type there, you can program it so that it produces the right light for that plant and not for the lettuces that you had growing. There's a UK company, it's called Vertically Urban, and they have their Haughty Blade tunable LED grow light. It makes it possible to tune the color precisely for almost an infinite number of horticultural requirements, with variable efficacy up to 2.7 micromoles. Now, you're probably going to ask what a micromole is if you don't already know. So, I do not want to tell you purely in my own words. A micromole is a unit of measurement that is equal to 1/1,000,000th of a mole. And we're not talking about the little thing that comes out of the ground and pushes up sand. It's a completely different thing. So a mole is that measure amounting to atoms in 12 grams of pure carbon 12. But a micromole, which is what we're talking about here, 2.7 micromoles, is a way to measure the amount of a substance, or in this case, the number of photons. Because remember, it's a grow light, it's producing photons through a target area, the target area being the rack of plants that it's busy trying to create photosynthesis for. And it's equal to just 1 micromole is equal to just over 62 quadrillion photons. Did you hear that? 62 quadrillion photons. Isn't light amazing? Isn't it amazing? So photosynthetically active radiation, or PAR, P-A-R, all radiation with a wavelength of 400 to 700 nanometers that is used for photosynthesis. That's absolutely amazing. So if we talk about the science of lighting, then there's another company, it's an Israeli company, it's BioLED Eco Light Systems, and the crops, it's called Crops, the lighting. It's one IP67 and it's full spectrum, and it uses Osram chip technology with a spectrum that can be precisely adjusted for crop and cannabis production. So let's move on. Now we talk about off-grid lighting. The lighting industry is always under pressure to be more energy efficient at lower operational costs, especially in remote areas. Additional benefits include improved safety and security, enhanced educational opportunities, extended working hours for business, and accelerated socio-economic development. But let's look a little deeper. What is a mini grid system? A mini grid is basically technical components that are grouped into 3 systems, namely production, distribution, and end user. Now that's very much like ESCOM. They have the power stations producing, distribution is the transmission lines, and the end user are the people who pay for the electricity. So it moves electricity from generation to the end users, provides connections that allow customers to use the electricity. So the systems can be varied depending on which components are available and what resources are available. So if we look at it, how does it work? There's generation, whether it's solar or power station. You have remote monitoring. It goes through a charge controller. through inverter systems or chargers, which again are monitored, to energy storage, which again is monitored, or from a diesel generator set. And that then goes out across distribution lines, and it goes to the end users who might store it in batteries, much the same way that you have an inverter, a Hubble battery linked to an inverter. Then a very interesting one, and I think this is a really fascinating one. It's a Israeli company called LumiWeave, and they have embedded solar harvesting and illuminating fabric. It's fabric. It's fully flexible sheet embedded with sunscreening material. In other words, it's almost like shade cloth. It's very similar to shade cloth. It screens up to 99.5% of all sunlight radiation. But it incorporates flexible, lightweight photovoltaic film capable of producing 190 watts per square meter. But below that, you have thin LED panels that provide light. They're very lightweight, thin LED panels that provide lightweight. Isn't that fascinating? Things that are being developed. But if you don't study and stay curious, you will not know about these things. And then we're getting close to the end, an Go Planet Manufacturers, which is a US company in Texas. They produce solar streetlights, and they also provide a patented solar module to be integrated into existing streetlights or existing lighting poles. Sorry, spelling mistake. Streetlights range from 30 watts to 200 watts, and their Go operating system enables remote management and optimization of the connected streetlights. So again, all for energy efficiency. If we complain about energy costs, go overseas and you'll see what energy costs are there. Very expensive. IoT-based systems, the increasing demand for interconnectivity and a smart environment is putting pressure on everyone. And has led to numerous companies developing advanced lighting control systems for a variety of lighting applications and building types. There's a Dutch company, Inge, Advanced Control Building Lighting company. They produce smart lighting systems for buildings. And they've actually moved far ahead of the time. If anybody's studied and read up and watched videos on the Edge building in Amsterdam, which is a smart building, one of the smartest buildings around, you'll see this is competing with that technology at much lower cost. Then there's a UK company, Tytham, and they enable home automation with a smart switch communications using Wi-Fi to interact with audio, lighting, security cameras, air conditioning, and much more. So the home automation has, again, developed to the next level. So my question to you now, this evening, I like asking questions. How can anyone not get excited about the new technologies? It's amazing. I'm not that far from 77 years old or young, and I still get so excited. I've no doubt whatsoever that the world of lighting will continue to see incredible new technologies emerging, and that there will be product improvements, and even as a result of that, we will see product obsolescence. Because if there's better stuff, what do we want the other stuff for? The old stuff. It will become old technology as well. So in conclusion, we can safely say our planet will continue to rotate. Unless some people get silly with crazy bombs. Lighting new developments will continue, and I look forward to them. Never accept lighting of today to be the lighting for eternity. There'll always be advancement. That's technology. My appeal to you is remain curious, read, study, do research, keep a sharp lookout for product developments, for changes, and for obsolescence. Don't get caught using things that are now already considered obsolete. Make sure that you lead the pack with knowledge, innovation, rather than follow without knowledge, because you didn't bother. And I know that's not the case for anyone who's attending this evening, because that's why you're here. You do bother.